What's going on, Coach?
Hey, Kevin. Great to see you.
Good to see you, too. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
That's awesome, man. I love always connecting with you. It's always a pleasure.
We've known each other for quite some time, my friend. Since I was 16.
Yeah.
I'm 37.
Jeez.
20 years, brother. We've known each other for 2 decades. How sweet is that?
That's goes fast, doesn't it?
You were first my coach.
Right.
And then you did become a counselor, yes?
Yes.
You counseled me along with Mr. Marty Procaccio.
Yeah.
And you helped me through a lot of difficult times in my life. And I always looked at you as basically one of my greatest confidants, protectors, you were the guy. In my book, I had to rename you Theodore White because the publisher wouldn't allow me to print your real name. When I just did the re-recording of the book on audiobook, they told me I changed it back to Mr. Anastasio.
All right.
They had to call me back to New York to redo it exactly as it was in the book and call you Theodore White. So I was very disappointed about that. But anyway.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, Coach. I tried. I promise.
It's all right.
But look, you were my coach, and it's proven right here with these pictures of the team. I haven't looked at this in a long time. We got everybody in there. Can you break down a little bit, if you don't mind, my high school wrestling career, and was I any good? What did you see in me, and then finally, what happened when I got sick?
Yeah, so I remember you coming out as a freshman onto the wrestling team and meeting you in the mat room, and you were pretty enthusiastic about the sport. You had a solid build to yourself, and super polite, really enthusiastic, and you stood out in a good way. You got a unique look to yourself, and so we're like, look at this guy. The coaches, we always do this like the first week of practice when we have new kids on the team. We're like, all right, who's going to be able to pick who's going to be a star in the future? And you were that kid that we all were looking at going, wow, he's got the attitude, he's got the physical capabilities, and we were super excited about having you on the team. And you were always super polite, like, yes, coach, no, coach, I'll mop the mats for you, coach, and everything like that. So it was great. We saw you as a potential leader too, because the kids looked up to you, and you had a really good freshman year. You were competing, and I know we bumped you around different levels at times when we needed you at different weight classes, different divisions, and you were always just a guy that was there that we could count on. And we had you working out with the varsity a lot as a freshman, and the varsity guys back then, you were on a team during an era that was like for real. It was legit. The competition in the league and the CCS was probably at a peak at that time, and we had some fantastic wrestlers. I mean, guys who went on to become Division I wrestlers, a national finalist on that team. So
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
That guy was a beast. That was he always won, it seemed.
Yeah. He took second in the nation in college.
Wow.
And almost made the Olympic team in judo. He was training at the judo training center, and John Devine was a 2-time NCAA qualifier, and so that was a tough period of time, and you were hanging with the big boys. Then I remember your sophomore year is when we started seeing some challenges for you, where your asthma was becoming an issue, and you were like, you never admitted this, but it seemed obvious, especially now that I look back, that you were embarrassed about the challenge. The nebulizer, you would go into the, I don't know how you got out of class early, but you would sneak into the mat room before the kids would get there and use that nebulizer before practice.
Yeah, that machine, it was like this bulky machine that sounded like a broken carburetor when you turn it on, and you put the mask over your face and you just inhale vapor medication, liquid albuterol, for 20 minutes until you can breathe again. Right. So I hated missing any practices, so I would miss classes to take my breather or my nebulizer, or I'd come to the mat room early and do that because I was embarrassed. I looked at having asthma as a major weakness in my life, it prohibited me from all kinds of sports.
Yeah, and in wrestling, you need your win more than almost anything else. And so, it was a concern for us, but you had heart, and you never used it as an excuse. I mean, you won the league at the JV level that year, which was, you taking timeouts and getting the inhaler just so you can breathe and finish the match, but never once did you want to stop wrestling. And you just had this hunger, but it was definitely something that was an extra challenge for you, because it's hard enough to wrestle, but to wrestle with an oxygen deficit is unbelievable. And you've had probably one of the worst cases of asthma that I dealt with as a coach, where you needed a lot more medication than anyone else I've had to deal with. But your lungs were burning, but you had a big heart, and you would just go out there and mix it up with everybody you wrestled. So that was a lot of fun.
It was fun learning the tricks in wrestling, and I'll never forget my favorite move. We ended up calling the Almer after Almer.
Oh yeah,
what's his last name?
Almer Manrique.
Almer Manrique.
He's a police officer, and his kid is at Riordan now.
That's fantastic. My kid's gonna go to Riordan. My dad went to Riordan, so we have to make a tradition. But I remember you come up to the arm and do the other arm bar, and you turn them on their side, and I would try to get as many pins as Almer did with his move, with that move, and I was hoping you'd one day call it the Kevin, but it never happened. But I did win WCL first place that year at the Crusader Classic, actually.
Right.
It was when I won, and
this is a picture of that. There you are. This is your.
Look at that redhead. Look at that right there. That's ridiculous.
All right. Yeah. So then we go into your junior year, and you made the varsity team as a junior. And where's your photo at here? I'm looking. There you are in the center on the varsity team photo. Wow. And that was a pretty solid team. Very solid team.
Jose Herrera. Oh my God.
Yeah. Who's coaching at the school now?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But really, things did start to change right around that time. I started to get really sick. And when you first had noticed that I was unhinged, unwell, unkept, what was your initial reaction? What did the teachers think, and how did you tackle that? So,
at first, we thought it was tied to the fact that your parents were going through a divorce, and as a child who's adopted and going through a divorce just opens a whole new set of wounds that we were just thinking, wow, this is going to be tough, because you were so close to both your parents and you had your siblings, and going through that type of trauma, because it wasn't a friendly divorce.
No.
And so at first we thought that the pain that you were feeling from that divorce, which was probably true, was causing some anger, and you were acting out on that anger. And so I know as a team we talked about it, and we said, hey, we got to be there for Kevin. Everybody, pat his back every day, check in on him, and be there for your brother. And over time, it became more and more of a challenge. And you also started getting involved with drama at that same point. And so at first there was a confusion for us as we're looking at it, not knowing that there was a mental illness that was brewing. And for us, we were looking at it as he's angry, and now he's on stage as an actor. And we started seeing that anger and that outgoing behavior in the school. And I specifically remember us meeting in the cafeteria, and I was part of a presentation, and you were in the back right-hand corner, like by the band room door. And I remember you got up first, real angry, and just started speaking out. And this presentation was just informational, and you turned it into a confrontation. And then as as you were having that confrontation, you turned into that character, The Rock, and the kids were just laughing at
Which
you.
I would do every day, and
Right.
I would make fun of kids, and I would say, "It doesn't matter what your name is, and why don't you drink a nice tall glass of shut up juice?" And I was really rude to a lot of people with that persona, with that character.
Yeah, and I remember I pulled you aside in the hallway, and I'm like, "Kevin, are you on drugs or something?" You know,
And you weren't the only one that thought that.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about that, but like,
yeah,
Father Tim definitely thought I was on drugs, and you know, I didn't even know what was wrong with me.
right,
I didn't know why I was so jacked up and hyper and hypomanic and manic. I didn't know what those terms meant back then.
right.
You know, and then I got diagnosed, and we learned together almost what was going on. And the best part about Riordan was you guys, you had my back and you took care of me, even in my darkest hour. You supported me, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, and that's where you know, I remember Mr. Procasio telling me that what your diagnosis was, and he explained it to me, because at that point I hadn't started my master's in counseling yet, and so for me it was eye-opening, because I didn't know about this, and realized later on that it's very common at 16 with puberty that something like this comes out, and a personality changes radically, because you went from being the sweetest, most polite, dedicated, motivated kid to this defiant, angry
Asshole.
kind of an asshole.
I was a dick to a lot of
A
people.
little bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
And
arrogant even.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
arrogance that was involved. It was ego. You know?
So that was tough, you know, and you know, I remember us having some talks, and then after your diagnosis I was relieved, but I didn't realize the medication regime that you were facing was going to be such a challenge. And I guess at first they have to find out what the right dosages are, and that medication was changing your personality in another way, and you were depressed, you were you know, we didn't know which Kevin would show up.
I was enraged.
Yeah.
I hated that people were labeling me this disease that I didn't want to have, but both my biological parents had the same diagnosis, manic depression. So I just recently learned through meeting my birth mother's family that my birth mom was triply diagnosed with schizophrenia, manic depression, and multiple personality disorder. So it's been a very interesting time in learning about my heritage and my genetic past that ties absolutely into what happened in high school with you.
It was disturbing. It was really a difficult challenge, because we loved Kevin, and to see him going through all this, and I was worried about him, you know, like what's going to happen after high school, because we invested a lot of time as a team protecting him. We wanted him to be part of the team. He got to the point where he couldn't physically wrestle anymore. He just would freeze up. He had no mobility, and so we saw this physical deterioration where in wrestling we have challenge matches where I don't pick the lineup. You challenge someone, whoever wins gets that weight class. Sometimes people change weight classes, and then Kevin lost his spot, and then he lost to another kid that he should have never lost to, and so we just saw this physical deterioration, and his ability to compete was gone. And we were hoping that it would come back, not because we needed him on the team as much as for him to feel good about himself, because we knew winning was a confidence booster for him. He's very competitive and passionate, and but we took him to all the matches with us, and to the point where at a Bellarmine dual meet he just lost control. He was screaming off the top of his lungs, and he ran up to the edge of the mat, and it was kind of a spectacle where we had to actually stop the whole wrestling match, which never really happens. But it was obvious to the referee and that there was something wrong, with Kevin, I had to physically grab him by the hand, pull him outside into the lobby, walk him around, and get his composure back. I assigned a couple of students to stay with him the rest of the match. The coach from Bellarmine came over and talked to me and said, "Hey, I know someone else that's bipolar." Like, he just saw it, and he's like, "It's tough, and hopefully over some time the medication will make things better for him." It's like, it's a shame. And he knew who he was as a good wrestler, and this was the #1 team in the area at the time. So Kevin was there, and so his pain and his suffering was very evident for all of us, and frightening. My feelings about it was tough, because I cared about the kid. It made me feel sad, definitely, and afraid. I was very much afraid for him. I didn't see how he was going to be able to function at the level he was at, where here goes this kid that you go, the world is his oyster. He can do whatever he wants. This guy has intelligence, physical abilities, acting abilities. I could have seen him going into business, graduating from college, doing really well in life, and now that all seemed impossible. Is he even going to be able to live away from his family, let alone take care of himself and be successful? So there was a lot of fear and wonder. So yeah, there was a lot of nights where I lost sleep thinking about him, and he was just a person that we did see some improvement before going into graduation. So it seemed like the hope came and became higher as he progressed through school.
What's that?
Archbishop High School cafeteria. Hello, handsome.
My wife was upset with me because of you.
Well,
I should kick your ass. Do you know? This is Mike Hippen.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Very nice to meet you. This is Kevin Hines.
Oh, very, very nice to meet you.
So Kevin and I wrestled together. He's been one of my good friends for a long time.
Nice to meet you there.
Juan.
Yeah.
You're eating too many cheeseburgers.
I can say the same about you.
I was giving you shit. So, what are you up to?
We're in finals. We got our last exam of the day here.
Dean of Academics?
Dean of Students.
Yeah. All right, well, anyway, listen. We'll come talk to you like I talked about at the weight room on Friday.
You want to try to work out tomorrow? What time?
You tell me. It has to be as early as humanly possible.
Okay, because I got to get the kids ready.
Okay. You tell me. I'll be there.
Maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock. Is that too late in the morning?
21st?
Tomorrow's the 21st.
21st, 8 o'clock. I'll be there at the weight room.
Okay.
All right, Juan, I love you.
I love you too.
All right, man.
It's good to see you.
Good luck with finals.
Yeah.
I can't wait
thanks.
to talk to you
My wife
tomorrow.
wanted to kill me because of you.
Why?
So my wife is
understand.
bigger and stronger than me,
did.
so I'm going to stick my wife
Jimmy.
on him.
No, I didn't understand.
Wait,
I didn't understand why.
Listen,
You tell me why.
If I didn't love you, I'd slap you in the face right now.
Tell me why, though. Give me a reason. What did I do?
No, I thought you had reservations, so we got out the kids and we got everything going.
I had reservations at 8:30, and you told me that it was too late, so I made reservations at 7:30, and you still didn't come.
Just get out. Just get out.
All right, Juan, I love you, man. I'll see you soon.
We'll talk tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. I know I was being real serious, but this is not a serious conversation. This is a happy conversation. You guys, this is the home I grew up in. This is my house. This is my house in San Francisco, California. And this is the house I grew up in from age 9 months to 18. And it holds the most amazing, beautiful, gorgeous memories of my past. It also holds some hard ones and some difficult ones and part of the hardship of my journey. This is the place where Debbie and Pat Hines made me their son, gave me a home, and became my mom and dad. This is the place with my little brother Joseph, who is 5 years younger than me, so he's 32 and I'm 37. and where we grew up together playing on the sprinklers of this grass when it was too hot outside, and we were in swim trunks. This is the place that my sister Elizabeth and I bonded so well and became thick as thieves, you know? And this is the place where Patrick Kevin Hines and Deborah Joan Hines gave me hope, light, purpose, unconditional love, and a future. And so I just want to express to you an immeasurable level of gratitude right now. I'm sending you a great, giant, big package of gratitude. Mom and Dad, Libby and Joseph, every single individual who has ever walked into this home and felt just that at home. Thank you for all you've given to me, family. Thank you to my late, great Kevin Joseph Ryan for being the greatest great uncle this world has ever known. 25 people at your funeral said that you saved their life just by being there. And that's really all we have to do. We have to be there for those we love. We have to be there for those we don't. And we have to be there for the people we don't even like. Because you never know what they're going through. And everybody needs help sometimes. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today, right here, baby, right now, this is our gift. Let us cherish it always. And let us, all of us, together find a way through the pain to be here tomorrow and every damn day after that. Holla at your boy.